This story is less a ghost tale and more about how the world can sometimes forget you. It's an urban legend whispered by long-haul truckers about the diners that sit on those forgotten stretches of highway, the ones that exist only to fill a space. They call it the Proxy Diner. I was driving across state lines late one night, desperate for coffee and a working Wi-Fi signal. I saw a glowing beacon of neon in the absolute blackness. The stop sign special. It was a classic roadside diner, all chrome and faded red vinyl. I parked and went inside. The place was dead quiet, but there was one other customer. A man in the corner booth, reading a newspaper and drinking coffee. The waitress, a woman named May, with tired eyes and a uniform that looked 30 years old, greeted me. "Coffee?" she asked, not smiling. "Please, and Wi-Fi password?" "No Wi-Fi here. Just coffee." I sat down and ordered a slice of cold apple pie. I watched the man in the corner. He hadn't moved since I came in. He just kept turning the page of his newspaper with a slow, mechanical consistency. "Rough night?" I asked May when she brought the pie. She wiped down the counter slowly. "Every night's the same here, sweetie. People stop. People go. That guy in the corner been here long?" She glanced at him without emotion. "Mr. Silas? He's been here since before I started. Reads the paper. Doesn't talk much." The silence in the diner was thick. It wasn't the quiet of an empty place. It was the silence of a vacuum. I ate the pie quickly and decided to leave. I got up to pay. "How long has Mr. Silas been here, exactly?" May counted my change slowly. "Maybe 10 years now. He just sits there. He leaves at dawn, comes back at dusk. Never orders anything but the coffee. Always the same corner booth. Doesn't his family worry?" May just shrugged, her eyes distant. "Around here, you stop worrying after a while. You just let people be." I drove away feeling uneasy. The next night, I was on the return trip, and I was exhausted. Against my better judgment, I pulled into the stop sign special again. Mr. Silas was in the corner booth, reading the same section of the newspaper. May was behind the counter. She didn't greet me, just poured me a coffee. "You're back," she said flatly. "Yeah, need a refill on my life force." I nodded toward Silas. "Still reading the paper?" "Same paper," she confirmed. "Same everything." "He's predictable." As I drank my coffee, I noticed something strange about the man. His clothes, though clean, were an exact duplicate of the clothes he wore the night before. His tie knot was identical. And the newspaper itself, a local weekly, was the one from the previous day. "May, can I ask you a serious question?" "Go ahead. Did he ever leave here?" "Like, is he a ghost? A memory?" May's expression changed for the first time. It was a look of cold, stark fear. "He's not a ghost, sweetie. He's a proxy." "What does that mean?" "It means the diner only exists because someone needs it to. Someone who broke down here a long time ago. Someone who needed a safe space to wait. The world forgot about them, but the road didn't. This diner is his waiting room. He sits there, reading his paper until he's ready to leave." "Ready to leave where?" "Ready to leave the world's memory," she whispered. "He's waiting for the last person who remembers him to forget." She leaned closer. "And you know what the scary part is? When someone sits here too long, the road needs a replacement. Someone to keep the space open." I looked down at my watch. It was 2:37 a.m. "How long have you been here, May?" She flinched. "I stopped asking a long time ago. I just know that every night, the door opens and someone sits down. And sometimes, they stay." The air in the diner felt impossibly cold. I threw a 20 on the counter and stood up. "I'm leaving. I'll call the police about him, maybe a health check." "You won't," she said, her voice completely without inflection. "Because you won't remember him well enough to report him." I ran to my car. I drove 5 miles down the road, and the paranoia was thick. I reached for my phone to call the police, but I couldn't remember the man's name. Was it Silas? Was it something else? I couldn't remember the waitress's face, only her uniform. I was forgetting. The road was making me forget the details, severing the link. I pulled over and frantically checked my odometer. I was tracking the mileage. 5 miles. I turned the car around and drove back, determined to remember the truth. I found the spot where the diner should have been. There was no neon sign, no chrome building, just a thick, overgrown patch of asphalt and a massive, crumbling slab of concrete, the remnants of an old, abandoned highway pull-off. The diner wasn't there. It had never been there. It was a temporary construction, a proxy built by the memory of the road itself. But something was there. Sitting in the middle of the overgrown asphalt patch was a single, clean, faded red vinyl booth, exactly like the one Mr. Silas had been sitting in. On the seat, folded neatly, was yesterday's local weekly newspaper. I walked closer, heart hammering. I picked up the paper. It felt brittle and cold. As I turned to leave, I saw a familiar sight sitting right next to the booth. A freshly wiped silver thermos. I recognized it immediately. It was the one I had been drinking my coffee out of an hour ago, the one I had left on the table when I fled. I had forgotten to take my thermos. I had left something small of myself behind. I looked at the empty, dark patch of highway where the diner had been. It was waiting for the next tired traveler, and now it had a new item for its collection. I got back into my car and drove. I haven't forgotten the story, but I've forgotten the small things. What was the pie I ordered? Did I pay with cash or card? I know I have to keep driving, keep moving, to ensure that I don't stop again. Because the road has a new proxy to worry about now. Me. I was the last customer of the stop sign special, and I just hope May, the tired waitress, is safe and has finally gotten out of that place. I hope she finally forgot everything.